All right, everybody's ready to go? Yeah. Just 12 hours between mommy and a margarita. Oh, you gotta be. Don't let a stuffy nose block your good time. Children's Afrin provides 12-hour all-day or all-night relief of nasal congestion from colds or allergies. Afrin, the wow is real. Use as directed.
It's only a kick, a jump, a block. It's only a serve. It's only a tackle, a run. It's only for the fans. After all, it's only pressure. You got this. Adidas.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. This is Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Central Texas Events. And Waco is home to a very big event.
Yeah.
Starting, well, it really started last night, but it is the Waco Block Party. And I'm so happy to have along with me, next to me, we have Lewis Hunter with the Waco Indie Film.
Yes.
Change the name on
I
it.
get confused sometimes.
We've been talking about
this.
this for several years, and now it's Waco Indie, and I love the
It's
name.
Waco Indie,
Waco
yes.
Indie Film Festival. Going to have a lot of great things happening in the next few days. And, of course, Kaitlyn and Dustin Evans with Southern Roots Brewery, because a lot of this stuff is happening in the block will be sectioned off in front of your place.
Yes. Yeah. For Saturday.
Right. But now your stuff will be happening at Texas Music.
Yes, we're going to be
Cafe.
a little bit down Austin, actually on 6th Street, at the new Texas Music Cafe.
It's a new location. I just
Yes.
learned about that. Okay, well let's talk about the film since I got you. So what are we gonna be seeing? What are we able to see?
So today and tomorrow, Friday and Saturday, we have some really great documentaries and some local films, right?
Good.
So we have a film today that's all about Jimmy and Stevie Ray Vaughan, the Brothers in Blues. And it's from a filmmaker who was a journalist in the 70s and 80s, worked in the blues scene. So in the documentary, we have Eric Clapton, we have Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, and we have Jimmy Vaughan himself. And they're talking all about the history of Texas blues and specifically the Vaughan family. Yeah.
Such historic significance, really.
Exactly. And I mean, I love that it's Texas roots. That filmmaker is a Baylor alum.
Yeah.
And then the next night we have another film Baylor alum, which is funny because when I got both these films, I had no idea they had Waco ties. It was really great. And they're both excited to be here. They'll both be in attendance. The other film that's happening at 5:00 on Saturday is called The Birth and History of Western Swing, which again has really good local roots. I mean, they say, it really was birthed in Fort Worth, but there's a lot of Waco ties there. Yeah.
I think about Johnny Gimbel. I mean, there's
Exactly, the
folks
Johnny
I'm thinking
Gimbel,
about,
and Bob Wills and all that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really good ties here. And so if you're a fan of music, those films are both gonna be here. We have a children's documentary happening 10 a.m. tomorrow, all about the history of African American music. Plus, like I said, local short films. That's gonna be at 1:00 tomorrow at all the Texas Music Cafe.
All right. Well, and then the block we're talking about is in front of Southern Roots, too. Yeah. And there's all kinds of things happening. We've been talking on this podcast about the Jacob de Cordova Society, and there'll be some folks there from that group on Saturday. And you've even got a special beer you've crafted for the founding of Waco, which is kind of coinciding with all this.
Yes, the founder's beer. Very creative. We'll have that in the tap room and then also at the Southern Roots Beer Tents on the street, on 8th Street, until we run out. So 11 p.m. to 10 p.m. is the entirety of the event. 11 a.m. Is when we'll start serving beer. But we have a vendor's market starting at 10 a.m. We have over 40 vendors just doing all kinds of neat crafts and painting and sculpting. And then the society is also going to have a tent out that they're going to have some art and some more information about Jacob de Cordova, which a lot of people I feel like don't know.
I think that's
the history there.
Why this resonates with a lot of folks.
Yeah.
There is no decor of a street. I mean, why is there not more here in Waco, commemorating the contribution that he made to the founding of the city, which Friday the 1st is really, the actual founding day in 1849. But it's just so neat that you all with Southern Roots Brewery have kind of jumped on with this. But you've also got some fabulous bands that will be a Battle of the Bands.
A Battle of the Bands, yeah. So this is our second year. We did this last year alongside Rogue Media and Texas Music Cafe, and kind of had a focus on rock music, had some local groups come out, and we had an absolute blast. I feel like everybody had such a positive response to it. Our thought is, how can we kind of grow this and make it something that encompasses what Lewis does with Waco Indie and what you guys do here at Rogue Media with podcasts and these other forms of entertainment we've got in Waco, and grew the Battle of the Bands to 9 groups this year.
That's amazing.
Some from Dallas, some are coming from Austin, and then obviously a lot of great local bands from Waco. So I'm super excited to have everybody out tomorrow.
Well, Dustin, so, and then, of course, the Southern Roots Brewery is not your only business you have, right?
Correct.
You have
Yes,
a couple of other locations.
Yes, we have a second brewery in downtown Waxahachie, and we just announced our third Southern Roots Brewery is going into downtown Killeen, which is where I'm actually from that area. And then we have a Traveling Pint and Pizza down in Killeen as well. They will actually be at the block party as well, serving beer. So we're getting all of our eggs together for one big hatch.
Because we're expecting a pretty good crowd for all this. Maybe not necessarily what could be showing up, say April 6th, 7th, 8th, maybe around in there. But, and you're already kind of making plans for the eclipse,
Yes,
aren't
ma'am.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. Do you have something special?
Well, I'm going to
there's-
head down to the stuff that's happening at the stadium. Like nothing for
okay,
Waco Indie,
right.
but
Well, that's
I'm excited as well.
I know, but I think that's already sold out. I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
we
not
got our
even
tickets
sure.
a while back.
Good.
Yes.
All right.
Good.
Yeah, shout out to Carla. She told me to buy them months ago.
Get them early. Yeah, but you're even playing another beer for the eclipse, right?
Yes. Yeah. So we're going to have an Eclipse beer here in Waco. And then we're doing one with a local brewery up in Waxahachie. And so Dustin and I actually aren't going to be in town. So we profusely apologize to all of our staff. It was not an
A
intentional.
year ago, we planned to take a cruise with our children.
Oh,
A
really?
big family cruise, and didn't check the calendar thoroughly. I think.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you may be the smartest people in the room.
we're out of town.
Just saying.
I don't know. Rent out your house.
Yeah.
Honestly,
There
that
you
might be
go.
a good pay for our vacation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm hearing some pretty amazing numbers that some of the hotels and
Wild. It was
Yeah.
wild.
bed and breakfasts are getting for that. Well, just to say, there's so much that's happening in Waco.
Absolutely.
I remember growing up, there's nothing to do in this town. I
That's
got to
not
get
the case
out of
now.
this town, and that's just not the case.
Yeah.
When we were planning this event this weekend, one of the things we were running into is, let's do it this weekend. Oh, no, we have XYZ. Let's do it this weekend.
Right.
Nope, we have this. And it's like, wow, now you're fighting for weekend space
You really
for
are,
events.
Well, and that's kind of what started this whole podcast, Central Texas Events. There's so many things happening in Waco and in Central Texas that are just fun and engaging. And this Waco Block Party certainly promises to be that as well. So is this a free event, or do you buy tickets for your
It's
films?
going to be all free. Yeah,
Really?
the film screenings are going to be free. The podcast recordings are going to be free. The Battle of the Band's going to be free. You got to pay for pizza. You got to pay for beer.
Well, and of course, you've got the food vendors.
Yes.
And you say 40, there's 40 different vendors.
So-
How many of those are going to be food?
So 40 just vendors selling
Crafts and
and doing their art. And then we've got 5 food trucks
Right.
that are going to be in the parking lot adjacent to the brewery.
Uh-huh.
So that people can have a mix of, if you want burgers, if you want tacos, if you want pizza. I mean, we're going to have a range. And then, I think we're right at 40, maybe a little over on the vendors. We've got a lot of local community nonprofits coming out, Veteran Affairs, Red Cross, the Freemasons, just to kind of give people an idea of other things, community related. So I think this is what I've noticed and what I've been really proud of is how cool it is to have all of these aspects of Waco come together from, you guys, from Lewis and Waco Indie, Southern Roots, all these small businesses. I just think it's such a cool thing to kind of get to see brought to life.
Well, can you, I should know more about this, but can you talk to the podcast aspect?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, of
tell
course.
tell me about that.
No, we have, I want to say about 7 podcasts that are going to be recording. I'm easy to talk about it because they're sharing our space.
Okay,
We're
good.
both going to be at the Texas Music Cafe. So there's going to be a lineup of, I think, 4 podcasts happening on Friday today. And yeah, there's different podcasts. There's, I think, By the Book is going to be there, or By the Cover, I should say.
Oh, good. Yeah.
The It Girl podcast is going to be there that day as well. And the podcasts they're so much fun to listen to in person because you have that interactivity. Like right now you're listening to us, but you should be able to ask us questions. But in person, you can do that.
How fun. Yeah. In fact, I think Bubba and Ricky from Storage Wars.
I think they're supposed to pop by. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I used to watch that.
Yeah.
How fun is that? And so they're going to be doing a podcast as well.
Exactly.
So
we got to
much.
shout out Mike's podcast too.
Okay.
So yeah, on Saturday. So I think we have Bloody Happy Hour happening. That's on Saturday as well. And of course, Bois, which is Mike Hamilton's podcast. And Mike is the creative director of this joint.
He's the boss man.
Yeah, exactly.
He's my boss man.
He has, it's a show all about King of the Hill, which of course, living in Central Texas, it feels like it's a documentary sometimes. And so they're going to have a live show there with Flame Trick subs. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it's kind of a rowdy, fun show to begin with. So having a good interactive audience with it is just going to be awesome.
A blast.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, but great music. There's going to be kind of highlighting the weekend as well. So who judges the Battle of the Bands? How do you do that? Are y'all in charge of that?
Well, it's kind of like a mix. Texas Music Cafe actually got a group of volunteer judges together with Central Texas Music Association. And so we'll have 5 judges that are on their board. And then I also have created QR codes so that the public can scan and vote in as well.
Yeah.
So that way, I feel like it's kind of a nice balance to not only have judges who obviously have a lot of experience in music, but to let people feel like they're interacting not only with watching the music, but saying, hey, this one really stuck out to me. And then we'll find a balance between what the judges think and audience votes. And that's how we'll determine our winner.
So what do they win?
So they get $1,000 and then they get to open for our headliner tomorrow night. So they will kind of take a regroup. They'll come back out, do another set. And then we have Don Lewis out of Dallas he's just a super diverse, super talented guy. He is mostly country, but he does R&B, he does soul. And he and his band are going to perform at 8 p.m.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It sort of blows my mind a little bit about all the things, the creativity of the folks putting all this together. And Dustin, you and Kaitlyn have done so much with this and been so generous with the community, really, and your business, Southern Roots. How long have you been there? Refresh my memory.
So we opened the first one in 2019. And
right before
COVID. Right. Couldn't have picked a better time.
Oh, no.
But, the community really got behind us. And when we didn't know what was happening, people were showing up. Whatever it is, we're here for it. And we've continued to do so with the events. And I really want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors. This is able to be free to the public, and we would not have been able to do that. I mean, Parsons Roofing, American Bank, just to name a few. When you see that list of sponsors, those people made this possible, and they made it free to the public, and is a great way for us to provide this for the community. So super hugely thankful to all of our sponsors and who are allowing us to put on this community event.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, such a great mix of music, food, fun beverages, and independent filmmakers that, really it's just great to be able to celebrate them.
Yeah. All these independent voices, because if you think about it, I mean, you got independent film is such a creative voice, as is music, as is podcasting. It really taps into our local community. Yeah.
Well, be there or be square, as they say. Yeah, the Waco Block Party. And you can find more information at wacoblock.party. I understand?
Yeah.
And you can spend as much or as little time as you want. But I think once you get there, you're going to want to just sort of immerse yourself into what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, Lewis, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Dustin and Kaitlyn, all that you do, I appreciate your time and hope to see you at the Waco Block Party. Bye-bye.
Central Texas Life with Ann Harder is part of the Rogue Media family. Be sure to check out our other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate this show 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Life with Ann Harder. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.